Hello everyone, it's Paula here from Craftables again. I've got a card to share with you today, and it's a bit of a nautical theme, so it's pretty good for girl or guy, whichever you prefer. So that's the front of our card there, and when you open it, it slowly moves up to reveal a message at the bottom there. So when you close it, it slides down, and open it slides up. Yeah, now it's actually a very easy card to do, so we'll get started and do it. So there we go. Right, to start off with, we need a 6x12 piece of white cardstock. So I've just got this piece here, and I'm just going to place this piece on my scoreboard now, because I just need to score it. So I'm just going to flip over my little board here so that I've got something to push against on my scoring. Grab my scoring tool, and I'm going to put the long side at the top of my trimmer there. There we go, so you can see better now. So the long side at the top of the trimmer, and I'm going to score it at 4 1/4 and 8 1/2. So this is actually going to be your card base, believe it or not. Alright, so it's actually going to be this way. So this piece here I'm going to fold up that way there. Now as you can see, it's a little bit shorter than where my other fold line is there, but that's exactly what we want. So this one's going to fold down over the top, and that's going to be the front of our card. Alright, so I'm just going to score that. Sorry, I'm just going to score that a bit harder down there, just so that we've got a nice crisp fold. There we go. Alright, so in my papers that I've actually used a Ciabella paper. So this paper range is from Ciabella, and it's the Sound of Summer. So I've got that piece there, and it's like a cut apart sheet. So all the bits that I'm using for my card on here is actually from that piece of paper that we've got from Ciabella. Alright, so the next piece I want to do is I want to cut another piece of white that measures 6 by 7 3/4. Now this piece I'm just going to fold in half. So I'm just going to fold in half. If you prefer to do your scoring on your scoreboard, then for your half folds, that go right ahead and do that. Alright, so that piece there we're going to need to cut now. So I'm going to open that up. I'm going to bring my trimmer back, and I'm just going to flip that board over so I can start cutting again. Now what I want to do is, I've actually show you my instructions here. So what I want to do is cut my paper so it looks like this. So I've come down 2 1/2 inches, and I've come in 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to show you how to do that on your trimmer. So I want my short side here at the top of my trimmer, and I'm going to bring it all the way across to 3/4 of an inch. So bring that left hand side here of your cardstock to 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to come down 2 1/2 inches. So I've got my inches along here as well, and on the side of my blade I've got a little piece of I'll see if I can show you. I've got a little, hang on, I've got a blade here I can show you with. On the blade there I've got that little mark there, and that shows me exactly where it goes down onto here. So I'm just going to bring that back, and I'm going to bring this back to 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to come down, and I'm going to stop at 2 3/4. Sorry, 2 1/2. So all the way down to 2 1/2. Alright, so I've measured in 3/4 of an inch, and I've come down 2 1/2. So I'm going to flip my card over, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. So bring the left hand side again to 3 1/4 inches, and come down and stop at 2 1/2 inches on the side here. Okay, so we've got a cut on both sides exactly the same. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the long side at the top of the trimmer, and I'm going to bring it to 2 1/2 inches, and I'm just going to cut these little pieces off here, not in the middle. So I'm going to bring it, cut there, lift up my blade, come up from the bottom, and cut that one off, just like that. So that is exactly what we want to look for there. So that's going to be a piece of card for the inside of our card, and that's going to help it move up and down. Alright, so the next part that we want to do is I've cut out a few fussy cut bits out of my sheet of paper here. So I've cut out these things here. So if you're doing this at home and you've got a different paper that you want to use, all I've got is a frame piece here, which I'll show you what to do with in a minute. This one's going to go behind this piece here. So this little one here is part of that frame there. And this one here I've put behind the frame, so that's the bit that comes up and down like that. And this one, big one here, is the one I've put on the front. And then I've just cut out some little bits and pieces, like a little water bottle, a little jug there with a sail in it, a beach house theme thing there, and a couple of little fish as well. So you could cut out anything you want to pop on there. The only thing you really need to have is something for the front of your card, something to go behind the window on the inside, like that one there, and a frame to go on the inside as well. So that's really all you really need to have. So all these other bits are just extras. Right, so I'll just pop those aside for now. So I'm going to carry on with this one. So on this one here, I want to put my little lifesaver on the front there. And I've got my little bits of twine on there. And then I wanted to put a brad through to hold it up. So I want to do all of that before I stick it down to the front of my card. So I've got my twine here, and I'm just going to bring the two ends together. And I'm just going to tie a knot. Nothing fancy, just a plain old knot. Now, I'm just going to cut the tail ends off a little bit, just so they're not as long as they are there now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my little life preserver there, and I'm going to put glue around just the sides, the left and the right hand side, so that when I pop my twine on, I've already got my glue ready to go. So I haven't put any of the glue along the top or the bottom, I've just done along the sides, right up against the edge there. So I'll do a close-up in a second. There we go. So I don't know if you can see very well on the video, but I've just done a little bit on this side here and a little bit on this side, so nothing at the top and bottom. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to bring my twine back in. I'm going to open it up, and I'm just going to leave a little bit at the top here. So it's going to come up. I'll just see if I can move in a wee bit here so you can see. There we go. So I'm just going to leave a little bit at the top, and then I'm just going to lay my twine on where the glue is, and I'm just going to follow around the outside of that life preserver. And the same on this side. So I'll just bring that up a bit closer there. So that's all I've done, is just done a little bit of glue around the outside. I've just followed my twine around the glue around the very outside there. Right, so I'm going to leave a bit of a gap down the bottom here, and I'm going to tie another knot about here. So I'm just going to grab it, tie a knot. There we are. Whoops, upside down. I've got a wee bit wonky there, but that's okay. We'll just move it across a wee bit. Okay. So as you can see, I've now got a little bit of twine with a knot at the top and a little bit of twine with a knot at the bottom. So I'm just going to cut that down a wee bit again, like that. And that's our life preserver. So I'm just going to zoom out again now. Whoops, that's coming in. Okay, out. There we go. So before I put this onto the front of my card, I actually want to place that on there first, and I'm just going to do that with a little bit of foam tape around the outside of the life preserver there. So just little bits of foam tape around the outside. So I'm going to stick this down on the card before I put my brad in the top, just so that I know exactly where the brad's going to go. There we go. So I'm just going to place that on there in the middle. Actually, it has got a bit of a wayward tail on it there, but never mind. We'll carry on. So this is where I want to put my brad now. So I want to put my brad right underneath this knot. So I'm just going to poke a little hole in there. So just a little hole underneath the knot there, just like that. And I'm just going to grab one of my brads and pop it through. So it's not actually, the brad's not actually holding anything together, it's just a bit of an aesthetic look there. There we go. So now the brad's in there, we can actually pop that onto the front of our card. So the front of your card, don't forget, is this one that opens up like that. So you've got this short little flap here that folds on the inside of your card. This bigger flap folds down to the outside. So now we can put this onto our card. So the measurement for the card front, I'll just give you that measurement now. So this measurement on the front of your card is going to be 6 inches by 4 1/4. So whatever you put on the front of your card there, you'll need to just make a little bit smaller than your card base so that you've got a little bit of a white border around there. So I've actually made the size of this card to fit this particular paper. Okay, so that's the front of your card done. So now we'll carry on with the inside. So for the inside here, we want to start covering over this little flap here. So I've cut a piece of coordinating paper to measure 3 1/4 by 5 3/4, and I'm just going to stick that right in the middle of this little flap here. So I've already put some tape on the back there, so I'm just going to take that off and pop that on that little flap. Beautiful. Just pop that up there in the corner so you can see what I'm doing. Now my next step is going to be this piece. So this piece is going to be my little frame that I've got here. So whatever you choose to put there is just going to go right in the center. Now I have put a bit of tape through the middle there just because I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut that little frame out in the middle, and I don't want anything to move around. So I have stuck this one down quite well. So if you want to use glue, go right ahead and use glue as well. Oopsie daisy. Okay. Now I'm not going to use a craft knife to do this. Now we have got 3 layers to get through. So we've got this first layer, then we've got this second layer, and that third white layer there. So I'm actually, because we don't need this middle piece, I'm just going to dab my scissors in there, and I'm just going to cut around with my scissors. I'm just going to roughly cut the middle out so it's a bit easier to cut through there. Right, so now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to cut it out a bit better. So I'm just going up against where that rope image is there, and I'm going to go around the starfish. So if you're not a big every time I get a new video up. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good day. Bye.